okay, we're talking to Leo Carabin. Off camera, we were talking with Leo here na the 2008 elections was an actual elections in ARMM.
Yes.
But actually, when you dry run a particular system, you can do it with kahit hindi election, di ba? That can be done in order to see the kinks, di ba? Oh, I'm mentioning this because in Mindanao, there are really no elections eh. So, parang ang nangyari doon, if there are really no elections and you put this kind of a system, you expedite the process of the no election. In simple terms, I'm trying to think very simply, pero that's why I was thinking, baka pwede natin sana ginamit yun in another area or maybe a dry run among computer experts. Because some people say that if you dry run this among computer experts, they will be able to see and fix this all up and it will be a very good system.
In fact, I suppose no, a lot of people have been asking us, why are we getting involved in all of this? No? And if you ask most of the IT professionals like Nelson Celis, Tito Toti Casino, Gus Lagman, it's really, I suppose, grating the integrity of the IT professional when we see systems that should have been tested properly but are not tested properly and are implemented on a nationwide basis. In fact,
right away, no?
Right away. And in fact, we were saying that in 2010, when all the CF cards were recalled 1 week before, if you were a CIO of a bank and you implemented an ATM, an automated teller machine, you know, and you tested it 1 week before actual online production and it failed,
you lose your money.
You lose your job. You lose your job, and I don't think you can ever get a job in the IT industry after that.
The worst part is you might lose your pants because the whole bank will, people,
Exactly.
you know, the system, ATM withdrawing money, no? Oo.
But for Comelec and Smartmatic at that time to say, no, it's something trivial, we will just replace it.
Parang sinugal ka agad natin, no?
Exactly.
As parents, no, as if I might use the metaphor, as parents, we would err more on caution, no, and say, wag muna natin gamitin to nationwide kasi tignan muna natin how this works. It might have been better, Leo, kung partly or majority manual and then some parts computer, no? Para makita natin yung differences, di ba? That would have been a fairer and safer way to go about elections, no?
Well, in the IT industry, we call it a parallel run.
Okay.
No, wherein you have either an old system that is running or a manual system that is running, and then you implement now a new system, but you don't implement it cold turkey.
Okay.
You implement it first on a certain portion, and then once it's running, you run it parallel with the manual, and then check the results if they're the same. Once they're the same, then maybe you can have a cut over later
Parang
on.
referencing ang ginagawa nyo.
Exactly.
Okay.
No? So that you know now in terms of the accuracy and of the process, because there might be certain kinks, like what you said, that would come out during the testing itself.
So what we're saying is we jumped into the cold water.
We did.
From head to foot.
We did. And it affects the future of the country.
Of course.
Because you now use that as a basis for results of, you know, of the leaders who will implement the laws, who will write the laws. And it's, like what you said, we're gambling actually the future of our country for systems that are not tested. And I think that's the biggest worry of all the IT professionals. It's not really about Smartmatic or any other else. It's just a matter of integrity of the process itself.
And I think that's what every media personality should be listening to. Because, you know, anyway, you're not a politician. Even let's assume that you are promoting a particular system. At the end of the day, if your system is good, it's going to survive. It will test the market, no?
And you know, Eric, I think the biggest concern, personally, no, is that at this point in time, Comelec is giving enough ammunition to the losing candidate. Because of the flaws in the procurement, because of the flaws in the bidding process, because of the flaws in terms of Smartmatic PICOS following the law, in terms of providing the security features. A losing candidate in 2016 can always say, I lost because my votes were not properly counted.
Yes.
And he or she could say, and the reason for that is because the procurement was wrong. There was already a selective option in terms of choosing a particular vendor, and I lost because of that. Okay.
We talked about 2008, 2010.
2010,
more of the same?
CF cards.
Worst.
Okay. CF cards, you know, PPCRV itself did a random manual audit.
Yes.
The random manual audit is supposed to be a counterbalance, a check and balance on the accuracy of the PICOS machine.
Yes.
The PICOS machine requirement by law is 99.995.
Okay.
The RMA actually was 99.6.
Okay.
So it was very low. The whether it's sad or funny thing about it is that COMELEC and even Smartmatic said, oh, it was a success. How can it be a success when your audit came out as 99.6 when the requirement is 99.995?
Yes, yes.
In fact, I keep on telling people, the analogy for me is you withdraw 1,000 pesos from a bank.
Yes.
And they give you 996 pesos.
Oo.
Will you be happy
Lugi
with
ka,
that?
lugi ka.
Will you be happy with that ATM? Will you use the same ATM again?
Kasi pag in-extrapolate mo na, ang laki ng kita ng bangko.
Exactly.
Diba?
So, ganun yung analogy
Oo.
ng IT industry. That, no? The reason why we put that 99.995 is because it's a safeguard.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that the counting is accurate.
Mm.
It's not about speed. Election is not about speed. It's about transparency.
Accuracy.
It's about accuracy.
Uh-huh.
And of course, it's about credibility.
And it has public character. Very important. Yes.
True.
Oo.
You know? So that's what happened in 2010. No?
Uh-huh.
And we all know what happened in terms of the CF cards being recalled.
Uh-huh.
And based on our calculation, it took them about 27 minutes per CF card to be modified.
Oo.
Ganun pala kadaling palitan yung CF card. It only takes about 27 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Maybe even shorter, no? Why did they not test it first? You know, you're a foreign company coming into the Philippines. You've just won a 7 billion project.
Yes.
Nationwide. This is the largest project that you will be implementing. At the very least, test your equipment. Test your software.
And that makes sense, no?
Yes.
That's very sober.
I mean, from an IT perspective, if I'm the project manager, I have a 7.2 billion project that I just won. It's a nationwide project. It will be a showcase project for the company. And yet, you were not able to test the CF cards.
Yes.
Belatedly, we found out that Dominion and Smartmatic were actually blaming each other for the CF cards fiasco. The CF cards were actually modified by Dominion. Smartmatic did not test it. So Dominion was saying, look, we gave it to you. It's also imperative upon you to do the testing. So either it's basic incompetence or laziness. For me, it's a red flag that this kind of vendor should not be given the opportunity for a nationwide project. You know?
And COMELEC is the one that deodorized the entire
Sadly,
the entire election process.
Yes. Sadly, yes.
Because they could not confront.
Napasubo na eh.
Napasubo sila.
Oh, andun na sila eh. So, it would have been...
So, sabi nga nila, kung napasubo na, lulunin mo na lang.
Oo.
Kahit mapakla. In short, that's what it means.
In fact, the IT practitioners are saying, kung mali, and then ayusin natin.
Iluwa natin, di ba?
We are not against automated elections.
Oo.
But let's implement it properly. No?
Okay.
In fact, even within the IT group, no, some people are looking at automated, but a combination of manual and automated.
Okay.
No?
But I'll ask you this. You start with 2008. You can draw a timeline eh.
Yes.
One mistake, second mistake, third, fourth. And then when you see all this, when you see these continuous mistakes persisting, left uncorrected, what does that tell you? From every election to the next, and the same person is being chosen. What is the most obvious, commonsensical answer that you can come up with? Kung etong tao na ito, yan pa rin ang pinili mo. You can, ito mga mali niya, you can drop maybe 20, 30 mistakes in the next 3 elections. At yan pa din pinili mo. What does that tell you? Sinadya.
Okay. The way I answer that, no, any company worth its salt, an IT company, would improve.
Okay.
2008, 2010, they would have improved. But in fact, in 2010, the accuracy rate, in 2013, the accuracy rating of Smartmatic actually went down.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, if you look at the COMELEC report, the accuracy rating is 85% because of the digital lines that came out.
Ano ba, 8 million? May 8 million pa raw na...
No, 12 million.
12 million na hindi ma-accounted for.
Well, so going back to your question, bakit pinipili pa rin yung palpak?
Oo.
No? Bakit pinipilit yung palpak? Well, a lot of people are saying that there are a billion
Reasons.
questions, a billion reasons rather, that why COMELEC would still choose Smartmatic.
So it becomes obvious.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so obvious ngayon.
That's what I'm saying, that they are giving already ammunition to the losing candidate in 2016
Okay.
for protests. Because COMELEC should be, and the reason why the AES law was promulgated was that for it to promote transparency, credibility.
Okay.
But because of this, it's negating those objectives. And it's sad kasi our future is at stake.
And then we're into the campaign period already. Or well, basically, it started a long time ago, no? And everybody's saying, get on board already. May iwanan ka ng train.
Ako siguro the question that I will pose to the candidates, knowing now that the PICOs can cheat you, will you make a statement for or against Smartmatic's PICOs in terms of its use? A very good, a good friend of mine, no, si former Congressman Glenn Chong.
Okay.
I asked him, do you have any plans of running in 2016?
Ayaw na niya.
Sabi niya, bakit ako tatakbo? PICOs yung gagamitin.
Oh.
So kung manalo ko, sasabihin ng COMELEC, di tama
PICOs
pala
ako.
bilang.
Oh.
Kung matalo ko, alam ko nang dadayain ako, bakit pa ako?
Oh.
No? So I think that's the same questions that we should pose the candidates, no?
Okay.
Maybe to Secretary Mar, to VP Jojo. What are your views about the PICOs machine?
Okay.
Sa akin kasi kung
And what do you think about going back to manual or semi-manual?
semi-manual, I think, no? Kasi
Yes.
ang worldwide, there's a trend now going back to manual elections.
Because
The whole point of of elections is private voting, public counting.
okay.
From the beginning of time, no, in terms of and beginning of democracy, that has always been the tenet of what
Confidentiality.
democracy,
Oo.
the privacy of you voting,
Oo.
but the counting should be public so that
Yes.
there's transparency.
Oo.
Sadly, most of the AES solutions that are out there, or especially the ones that COMELEC has chosen, does not have that kind of transparency.
And probably that's the reason why they always get chosen.
Maybe.
Because it expedites results.
Non-transparent, yeah. And for them, the speed is the primary
Consideration.
rationale for choosing, an automated election. It's a little bit worrisome, no? That if you look at from an IT perspective, if you look at the process itself, you have in a way two processes. No? You have the voting itself,
Yes. And the counting.
and the counting,
Yes.
and then the consolidation.
Yes.
Okay, so the voting and the counting in the precinct, let's call that. Let's consider that as one stage, and then
Yes.
the consolidation is the other stage.
Yes.
Cheating could have been done in the counting itself, but it does not affect greatly the results because you only have 200
Yeah.
voters.
In every precinct, more or less.
The dagdag bawas happens in the
Consolidation.
consolidation.
Yes.
But the approach of COMELEC is that they spent billions on the manual and counting,
Oo.
but they only spent a little on the consolidation. Because the consolidation, it's a simple program. In fact, when Gas Lagman was commissioner, they actually were able to create their own consolidation program.
Okay.
And it cost less than what Smartmatic was actually selling COMELEC.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. Some people are saying manual counting sa precinct level, sa consolidation, yun na yung computerized when we return.